Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane, and I'm joined with Eileen. It's the Power of 8 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. How are you doing today, Eileen?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Shane? Hi, guys.
Wonderful. April, you won the award for being first in the chat.
Yay. Hey, April Lunsford. I remember your last name. I get a prize for that.
Yep. This is awesome. So it's kind of funny because we discussed last week after the show that we wanted to do one on healing, like the light workers, because, we're not very effective if we're, moping around in pain or not able to get up and get out and do whatever we need to do. So we need to be healthy. It's sort of like that old saying that, put on your own life preserver before you jump in the water. And
oh yeah, that's a good one.
So you got to take care of yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what we're working on, and it's
kind of interesting because you suggested it as soon as we went off the air. I was like, wow, that was a really heavy one, but we did cover 4 people's requests, which was great because they were all kind of related, right? And I was like, let's do a really light one next week, really uplifting. And you said, let's do one about healing all the light workers and healers in the world, heal them financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, and the new ones coming online, the new people awakening. Let's send them a bunch of love because they tend to get a little bit freaked out about the Mandela effect, right? And stuff like that. So they need a little extra love and encouragement.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where we don't even have to focus on ourselves. If we're a light worker, we can send it out to everyone else, and just being that vessel that healing energy goes through, we'll reap the benefits of it. So we can still have it as a service to others action and not do it for ourselves. We're really doing it for everyone else because we're all really one, right? One.
Yeah, exactly. And the book that we always mention, she'll be watching soon because I sent her a request for your interview with her. And Lynne McTaggart's The Power of 8 that we've been using as kind of a guide. We've changed it a little to incorporate the size of our group. This is a group of 100, so we can't do an individual person every week. That'd be 100 weeks. And with the small groups you form an online or in your own home or community, you could do 8, 10, 11, 5 people, and you could do one person a week, right? So you could focus more on your immediate community. But all the studies show that whether you're focusing on your neighbor or your loved one or people across the globe, you still get the healing effect yourself.
Right. So you can reap the benefits without sort of going into it for yourself. So that's awesome. Yeah, and Lynne McTaggart, shout out to her for inspiring this whole thing.
Yep. Thank you, Lynne. And I did her healers video conference, which was 3 days over 2 weeks. And it was really well done. So if anybody wants to do it, go online. We always drop her links down below. And it was reasonable too. It was about $250, and you get a lot more out of it than just the videos. And you get to talk to her, and she sends you a bunch of downloads, and you get to keep the videos so you can refresh later. And she was really saying that the self-help is not helping us anymore necessarily. Maybe we've moved a step beyond it, because as soon as you stop focusing on yourself, you get healed even more. It brings in more light into your body and heals you quicker than if you're constantly trying to bring the light only into one little body, just yourself. So that's fascinating.
Nice segue into bringing up Jenny again. Hi, Jenny.
Yeah. Hey, Jenny, are you in the chat?
No, I don't see her in the chat, but she will definitely be joining us later. But we always bring her up because she actually got an instant healing.
She did. And I'm going to put her in touch with Lynne too, because it's a new book and Lynne is looking for testimonials. She wants to know what happens in the community now that she's kind of put it out there. And very quickly, Jenny was doing it 3 days later. because we post it to our channels after we do the live show. And she felt extremely emotional during the meditation for children. And she did a bit of stretching. She felt really dizzy, which you often complain about afterwards. You know, you feel really like, wow, I went really far. So
Yeah.
you don't want to do it while you're driving or
Right.
walking anywhere, like down the street, listening to headphones. And she woke up pain-free in her neck and back for the first time in years. And what's interesting is like she has the medical proof too, because she went to a chiropractor for like once or twice a month for years because of back and neck pain.
That's amazing.
Hopefully she doesn't have to do that anymore. She said it's holding. She said it's still holding when we email back and forth occasionally. Now, interestingly, you last week said, let's do one for all the light workers in the world and the new light workers and healers coming on board. And then she emailed me and said, oh, Eileen, I have a suggestion. Actually, I'm going to read it because it's very short. And then Debbie Hazelton emailed me, and it's all the same. It's exactly what Shane was saying. Okay, so Jenny said, imagining all healers using all the modalities available and working under one purpose, to heal and to be healed. This is my version of 5D Earth, exclamation mark, smiley face. And then Deb, hi Deb, if you're out there watching, Debbie Hazelton suggested we do a group healing for everyone in our community. Here, she started to mention some of our community members that we all know are struggling with some health challenges. Let's call them challenges, not difficulties. And she just really wanted to do a healing session for everybody in our community, which also includes light workers and healers in the world. And then Shane, you said you wanted to do all the new light workers. And then we've got one special request that just came in under the wire. It
From
was
Amber, right?
What's that?
From Amber, right?
Yeah. Amber suggested that we do something to help put out and stop and prevent the forest fires. And I'm looking online and I'm not getting a lot of information on them, but I do know that there were like at least 66 wildfires between Colorado, Utah, and California like 2 weeks ago. So
Going under reported or something, huh?
yeah, it seems to be like it was heavily reported in the last 2 weeks of June and the first week of July, and now it's kind of disappeared off our radar in terms of when you look it up. It's hard to find current information, but you know they're still going, and they're in other countries as well. It is fire season, isn't it? The summer.
I know it's hot out there. Feels like it.
Yeah, it is. It is. And Hidden Light, she's the one who gave us, or he, I'm not sure, I can't remember the picture. Hidden Light gave us a suggestion last week to heal those who are incarcerated. And it was Kaylee Steed. Remember, we couldn't find the names last week? Kaylee Steed, who asked us to heal the victims of sexual abuse. So I'm going to recommend that if you guys want to give us suggestions, which we're encouraging, email Shane or email me or email both of us. If you put them in the comments in mine or Shane's videos, we might not see them. We try to get to all the comments, but I know you, Shane, get probably like 500 or 1,000 comments a week on all your videos, right?
Definitely. And I try to check them right away. But if it's like been a few days, and I'm usually checking my newer videos. So yeah, it's easy to miss. So definitely want to put it in an email. If you post it right away, I'll probably see it, but definitely.
But if it's later, retrocausality, like that's the big point with Jenny, was the person who's reported back to us a healing from doing these live group intention prayers and meditations. She watched it 3 days later and she got the same effect. Retrocausality, a quantum effect.
That's amazing. Yeah, it really reveals that there is no time and space, because here we
No.
are, we're connected all around the globe. And then even through time, throughout the next week that people are watching it, I know you feel it. You don't have to be here live to feel it, and you feel it strong. And there's Debbie Hazelton. Hey, shout out to Debbie. She's like, yay, Eileen, I'm here.
Hey, Debbie, we mentioned your suggestion for this week.
Yeah, we love you.
It was really like Shane's, but Shane's was a global suggestion and yours was focusing on our group here, which was really, really generous and kind.
And I thought it would be good to sort of expand the wildfires to sort of heal the earth, because as it's going through these changes, it's almost like the wildfires and the volcanoes and all of that stuff is sort of a symptom of the earth itself needing healing, right? I don't know. You
Yeah,
want
yeah, and the volcanoes, that's part of it, and the earthquakes and the
earthquakes? Yeah.
wildfires. Yep, so that's all part of it.
And there's
And
flooding and all sorts of other stuff going
we
on.
did a whole show on healing Earth, healing others, and healing you, but it was all about healing Earth, and that's the first Power of 8 at 8. So we'll do it again, obviously, but if you want, you can go back to that first video and do the meditation on healing Earth.
And we'll focus on the fires or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I didn't pick out any pages for this week. It's really odd because I don't want to present this like a Bible. You know how people read from the Bible every week, but it's a really good book, and it's got a lot of suggestions on prayer, meditation. So it's a very positive thing.
We don't
So
give we don't want to give Lynne a God complex. Turn to Saint Lynne, chapter 3.
she's really been good at avoiding the God complex. Her personality is very warm and basic. She's gonna hate that, but
Yeah.
she's like normal folk. She's like a regular person because she's a reporter,
Yeah,
and
I
she's
love that about her because the way she does her research and stuff is very scientific. And I'm that type of person. I'm totally into the spiritual stuff, but I like the evidence, the real world evidence, because that's typically what's better to present to other people. You know what I mean? So
yeah, so she always presents it as this is what I found out. This is what I've discovered. Not I hold all the wisdom in the world like a lot of people do, follow me, I know everything. No, she's like, in fact, she held back on this information for 10 years because she couldn't figure out why. When she was doing the intention experiments globally to affect a change somewhere, like cleaning up pollution in a lake, making a certain region like Sri Lanka more peaceful, and even changing the photo, whatever it's called, where you measure the photons, the photo output of a bay leaf, I think it was. She couldn't understand why people were reporting spontaneous healings because the whole action was not based on them. So she spent 10 years researching it before she felt confident enough to actually put the book out, The Power of 8. And the number is not that critical. We can mess around with the number. It doesn't have to be 8. Although 8's a good number, right? Weren't we saying the infinity sign?
Yeah, the infinity sign. Yeah.
So the most important parts in terms of having an effective healing on the target and an effective healing on the healers was heart coherence. That's the number one when our hearts are all beating as one, because we really are one and we're just connecting. And that's what she calls the powering up when we do our visualization of being in a peaceful place and a safe place. And then we put our grounding cords down and then we breathe, and we see the light and we put the bubble around us, which is very protective. So that's her powering up. But sometimes I mess around with it a little bit and because I want to do things unique for our group, not like follow it. And she doesn't say to follow her exactly anyway. The other most important thing she says is feeling compassion. So if you really want your prayer, your meditation, and your intention to work for who you're sending it to, really feel love while you're doing it. Then there's the mirroring, she calls it, which is for peace and healing. It's like as we're giving out this love and this prayer for somebody who is not us, we mirror that because it's coming through us. Now it's a part of our DNA. So that which we give to the world with our heart, we carry around with us forever. So there's that kind of mirroring effect, which, it's not quite entanglement, is it? That would be taking it a step too far. Then she talks about the gamma waves of the brain, increasing the outcome, the effectiveness. And then she talks about the focus. And she says, be as specific as possible. And in our group, we can't be that specific because there's 100 of us. So we usually target like an area or a problem in the world that we'd all like to fix. But
So
like if you
it's like it dilutes it or something, huh? It's like it gets spread too thin.
That's what she said. So if you're in your own Power of 8 group and there's 5 of you, go ahead and work on your knee, work on your shoulder, work on your eyes, work on things specifically. But for the other person, that's the whole key, is that you're not really focusing on you. You're all focusing on someone else. And eventually it's your turn for the group to focus on you.
Right. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And then, of course, she did the studies that we talked about, I think, last week on those who give more, love more, and socialize more and get out with people are healthier, happier, and they live longer.
Mm.
So that's it.
That's awesome. And I
Yeah.
think the fact that we have so many more people, um, it's probably okay that we're a little broader with our intentions to all light workers in general.
Yeah, I told her about that in the last class. She redid it, and we got to take it the first class again. And I talked to her a little bit about this group just springing up spontaneously. We did a book review, and then people bought the book and said, "Come on, guys, let's do it." And of course, our group went, we're not 8, we're 80, sometimes 100, sometimes over 100.
Yeah.
So she knows we can't be as specific on the individual needs of the people in the group, but the individual needs of the people in the group are being answered by focusing on our collective environment, by healing the world, people, animals, the environment.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's really good. I feel, I think that euphoric feeling for me lasts like 2 or 3 days. How about you?
Yeah, it's definitely, and like what you were just saying about the compassion, that's when I really feel, whenever it's like you put yourself, you feel that compassion going through you, that's when I begin to feel very emotional about what we're doing, because it's like, I don't know, it's like you're tapping into that creator sort of unconditional love, compassionate thing that really comes from beyond us or something. But it's very powerful when we're doing it. And yeah, it does have a lasting effect.
Yeah, I mean, we come out of it, some of us feeling a little bit dizzy. I said that, you said that, Jenny said that. I think I've had a couple more emails where they said the same thing. And then, when you ground yourself again and you're solid and you're not dizzy, I just have this really peaceful, relaxed feeling for like 2 or 3 days afterwards. I feel extra relaxed. But then, before Friday rolls around, I get worked up again, living life and, all that entails.
Yeah,
So
that's
I wish I
great.
could hang on to that piece forever. I wish I could just like walk around. I think I'd look like a monk, You'd look like one of those monks walking around in a state of bliss.
Wearing your white robe and everything.
Yeah, white or orange. I
Yeah.
remember I spent some time in Indonesia and that part of the world, and the monks wore orange. It was really lovely, but you couldn't touch them. If you were on a bus or a boat, and everything is crowded in Indonesia, you try desperately as a woman not to touch a monk, because they're like really into this purity and sanctity stuff. So I'm sure if you did bump into them, there would be, something they'd have to do to get clean again. I don't know.
That's funny.
I know. I'd rather not be a monk. I'd rather be a normal human being living a normal life, but who like has the same ideals and aspirations,
Yeah.
of somebody like that.
Well, we have 58 people in here. Attendance is
Great.
down a little bit, but it is a little earlier than we normally get
It is a
started. So,
lot earlier. We usually get started around 8:45. I don't know
right.
why we just blather on about so many different topics before we actually get to the meditation.
Yeah, we actually do. But
I
that's
mean,
okay. We have a good time.
we were like talking about some really interesting topics before we hit the live stream button.
Yeah, I
Weren't
was
you
just trying
saying?
to remember what we were talking about, because yeah, it was interesting. We were like, hey, we need to get everybody else in on this conversation, because
Oh yeah, we were saying because we were watching these videos, okay, from I wish I could remember her name. Now we're gonna have to find it and drop it. Drop the flat Earth one in the video description. People are gonna love that one. I think we've been watching. I found these videos of a very mystical Jewish woman who lives in Israel, and
somebody I
she's.
know who she is.
I wish I could remember her name.
Nathan mentioned her before. If Metal Rabbit, she sends me stuff from her sometimes. Anybody know the lady, the Jewish lady that somebody
She's
had
got
type it
like
in there?
a white and gray ponytail pulled back and beautiful red curtains behind her. And I don't know. I thought she kind of sounded American living in Israel, but you said you had like some difficulties with some of her pronunciation.
Yeah,
So
whenever she's
maybe
saying
she
the
is from
Hebrew
Israel.
words, whenever she's saying the Hebrew words, that's when it's or when she says like words
Shem,
like
Ham.
Abraham. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
L'chaim. Yeah,
Abraham, she said it in such a funny way that I could yeah, Doreen, Dotan, or
Yeah, Doreen Dotan, but then there's more to her name, isn't there?
I don't
Doreen
know.
Dotan is just the first half of her name.
Oh, that's, I think, all I know about it.
But anyway, she's very, well, she's a little bit controversial. Just in case she sees this, I really appreciate your work. It's so cool. I'm going to watch a whole lot more of it now that I've found you. But she's talking from the mystical Kabbalah, the book of Numbers, and the very, very ancient mystical, like pre-Judaism. And I delved into a couple of books that were translated into English, and frankly, I was lost. I read the whole book of Numbers, and I came out going, what did that mean? you know, and
Right.
and you said that when I sent you her videos explaining who's actually running the New World Order and who are the bosses of the Rothschilds, that was getting pretty deep. And then she kind of explains, and I'm making a really bad summary of it probably, or like an incomplete summary of it, but she talks about, and I know this part is true because I researched it before I heard her say it. She talks about how the current Zionists, who a lot of people attribute as being Jewish, and they're like, oh, the Jews are running the world. Oh, the Jews are terrible, blah, 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 blah. The current Zionists, or ruling class Jews who own a lot of media and all the banks, let's put it that way. I don't think I'll get sued for saying that, right? Because I can probably do that in like 2 minutes. They were Christians, and they're the Khazars, and they're from a part of like Russia that is current day Georgia. And I looked up their ethnicity, and when they were Christians, they were Turkic, not Turkish, Turkic Arab Christians. Has anybody heard of that before? So that's a really particular group of Christians. And their king was trading with Jewish mystics from Babylon, but the Babylonian sect that he was trading with practiced human sacrifice. They were called a death cult. So they were getting they were using this ancient wisdom that she is totally versed in, right? You can tell she knows what she's talking about. It just like pours out of her, and it's hard to keep up with her sometimes. Like I feel like I need to rewatch her videos. So they took this ancient mystical tradition and they turned it to the negative. They used it for the negative. They took over Christians in who were the Khazars, the Khazarians. They emigrated to Germany. They took over German banking. They emigrated to England. They took over English banking. They were very big in stirring up wars. World War I, World War II, the Napoleonic Wars, because every time there was a war, and then they had to settle the spoils afterwards, the bankers made a fortune. So war was really good profit for them. And then they'd usually take over the central bank, which prints the money. So today, the Rothschilds, long story short, print 95% of the world's money. And she just tells you who are their bosses. They are not at the top of the pyramid. We think they are, but there are very, very quiet families who basically tell them what to do. And she's saying, why am I bringing this up? We all know that politics is rubbish and terrible, right, and dark. But she's the first mystical Jewish person I have ever heard on a video criticizing the Zionists or the Jewish ruling elite. And she's the first Jewish person I've heard talk about the shift and talk about the event. And in her opinion, they're not going to go with us. She said, and how we always talk about, well, do they stay? Do they stay on 3D Earth? And people who are really in service to others and service to all go to 5D Earth. How does this work? She basically says there's no way that they can survive the shift, she calls it, instead of an event. But it's the same thing. Because they are using the mystical teachings so negatively that they don't have the moral, what did you call it? You sent me that video. They don't have the moral standing to be in that kind of a good, healthy, cooperative environment.
Right.
So,
It's like
fascinating.
I've been reading Vixie's book, and she was explaining how it's like there's the difference between like light workers and the Illuminati is like the light workers are really using love along with being illuminated. So it's love and light together. and they're using light, and that's just the Luciferian part of that. So it's like the knowledge without the compassion and the love and all of that stuff, and which I think is a much simpler way of looking at the whole thing, you know, and getting into the specifics of it. I mean, it's interesting, but I just totally get lost because I'm not used to her perspective. I've never heard anybody speak from her perspective, and that's
Oh,
usually,
it's fascinating.
yeah, it's usually how I kind of determine where someone's coming from. But because she's from such a unique perspective, it's like I'm scratching my head half the time trying to figure out, like, I've never heard anybody speak like this. You know what I mean?
I know. It is fascinating, though, to hear the perspective of the shift from the mystical Kabbalah, from
Yeah.
somebody who knows that wisdom, you know. And I don't know anybody else who's presenting that information. I've never seen it before. Have you?
No, and the fact that like the one I sent you where she was talking about the earth isn't flat or spherical, and she's talking about how it's been fragmented and all of that.
It's
Oh,
both.
yeah, it was kind of weird that I mean, it made sense, you
It
know,
did make
but
sense.
it was pretty far out there. I was like, wow, this is pretty
Do you
trippy.
remember last week how we were all talking here about how you see the world through the pair of glasses that you choose to put on? You
Yeah,
know, you're like, I'm going to look at it through a computer, so you find God through computer code, simulation theory. I'm going to look at it through a hologram, so you view God and the universe as a hologram. She's basically saying that it completely depends on your perception, whether you view the world as flat or whether you view it as, what do we call it, globular,
right. Spherical.
right?
Hmm.
Spherical, because it's neither and it's both at the same time. It's all based on perception. And
Yeah,
there's also pressure from group perception. So if you start suddenly seeing the world as flat, the group might make fun of you and make you change your perception to go along with the group. But she didn't agree that it was flat either. Did you hear that at the end? She was like, you know, she wasn't saying that it's okay to think it's flat versus spherical. She said it's both.
she actually said it was more like it was sort of like just a misunderstanding of what you're even thinking, the way you're thinking about it, to see it as flat or spherical. It's like, because she was saying how we, you know, with all the planets and everything, we're seeing fragments of a whole that's been shattered, and we're seeing it shattered, thinking of all these things as separate things. But once you reach a certain level of consciousness, you realize that it's all part of one thing. We think of space as like empty space with little pieces here, but it's all like one single unit. That's sort of how I was kind of
Yeah,
taking it,
yeah.
but it was trippy. I liked it. In fact, let me put flat versus spherical. Let me drop in the
I have to
link.
watch it again, guys,
It was
because
deep.
it was very, very deep, and I didn't really form an opinion because I felt like I needed to watch it again and see
Yeah.
exactly what she was getting at. But I don't agree with her 100%. No way.
Mhm.
You know, I don't agree with anybody 100%. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some wisdom in her background, her approach, her knowledge.
Yeah. She seems like she's coming from a good place, compassionate and
Yeah,
loving. I didn't
yeah.
get any like bad vibes off of her or anything.
No, she said, don't ask me for answers. She
Right.
said, ask God. She said, have a conversation with God. Go directly to God if you've got a question. Don't send it to me. Apparently, a lot of people are inundating her with questions on her Facebook and her YouTube.
Somebody said, but anti-Christian. She is anti-Christian, sort of.
Yeah, because she's mystical
I
Jewish,
can, yeah, I could
which
see
is
Christians
the
having
Kabbalah.
probably not resonating with her message, but
No, she did say one thing that's interesting, and I'm a Christian, so from a Christian perspective, we were talking about this before we just went on the show. She said that Jesus never claimed he was God. He claimed he was a son of God. But it was Christians later who decided to make Jesus God. And Shane, historically, that's true, isn't it? Jesus never, there's nothing where
he
Jesus
actually
said,
called
I am
himself.
God.
He referred to himself as Son of Man more than any other thing in the in the New Testament. So most of the time he referred to himself as Son of Man, but he did say my Father sometimes, referring to God.
That would be Son of God. But he
Right.
never said, I am God. I
Yeah.
am God on earth for you now. He never said that, did he?
No, in the Council of Nicaea, when they were trying to figure out, when they changed the day from Saturday to Sunday for worship, and sort of that meshing together the pagan beliefs and traditions with Christianity, they were trying to determine what, was he man, or was he God, or was he both? And there was a big debate over that at that time when they were trying to figure it all out. And I think they just decided, well, he was definitely divine in the things he did, and so they sort of settled on his being divine or having a divinity. So,
But yeah, that would trigger some people when she says that. But she says it in a nice way. She doesn't say it in a mean way, but she does say it in a strong way. You
yeah,
know, she says that Christians turn Jesus or Christ into God, but Jesus or Christ never turned himself into God. So
yeah.
that's pretty interesting. I'm pretty open-minded. Like, I'm not going to believe everything she says, and I'm not going to turn to Jewish mysticism as my religion. I've tried reading the Kabbalah, translated versions of it. It's really difficult. I think you need to be like born into that culture. It has to be around you. You eat and drink it every day,
Yeah.
so that when you read the books, they make sense. And as an outsider trying to understand the books, I probably would understand her more. And I still got to watch her twice. You know, I still don't get it.
Yeah, I don't have the history with you said Kabbalistic
Kabbalistic with a K. I know it's kind of interesting that they call it the Cabal with a C, but this is the old ancient Kabbalistic mystery schools. I actually think that they practice that in Babylon as well, perhaps not as part of these scary death cults, but you know, it was practiced throughout the whole region. We're always referring to Middle Eastern thought. You
well,
know,
what is it
whenever we
with
look
the
at Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, it's all Middle Eastern.
what is it with when there's like who was it, like Madonna and Britney Spears, and they had the red ribbon tied around their arm, or thread or whatever, string or whatever, and they said they were Kabbalist, is that
Yes.
the same
Now,
thing?
though, yes, it's the same thing on the
Okay.
dark side, on the negative. And she accuses the fake Jews or the Khazarian Jews who came out of a Christian background of creating those celebrity followers of the Kabbalah. And she said it isn't true, it isn't positive, because she said the true Kabbalah is used for creating. And we humans create on earth like God creates the universe. And I thought that was fascinating the way she said, you create everything, your furniture, your house, your clothes, your schools, your churches, your religious belief, your governments, your medicine, your art. You are creators creating on earth. But the fake Jews or the Khazarians are using the Kabbalistic ancient mystery information to control humans to create negatively, because that serves them. They make more money off of it. She said basically it's prosperous. You know, it's all done for money.
The light
And the
without the love again.
yeah, the light without the love, it's all for profit. And the positive ancient Jewish Kabbalism or Kabbalistic traditions do it for love of God. They're here on earth studying this to create on earth because they love God. I mean, how different is that? So that goes back to Jesus. Really, I mean, Christianity was a correction on Judaism, and Judaism came after the ancient mystical Kabbalistic information. Some of that trickled in, but it's different. And Jesus said the love of money is what is the greatest sin in the world, didn't he? It wasn't money is the greatest sin, because you could use money to help others, and you could use money to improve the world or animals or the environment. But the love of money, the lust for money, is one of the greatest sins. And that's what the fake Khazarian Jews, who are our deep state ruling elite, are doing. They're
Yeah.
using all these traditional practices to make money out of the human fodder. You know, the human, we're the cattle, making the money for them, right? Paying their loans and buying their houses and, you know, using their credit cards and working at their corporations and buying their goods. You know, it's kind of a vicious circle, like on a hamster wheel. So you work for the company, right? And they pay you very little. And then that company sells you stuff really expensive. So now you got to run on the hamster wheel even faster to make more money to buy the goods from the people who are employing you to run on the hamster wheel. So that's where she was very open and honest and brave. You know, she's in Israel and she's telling people that the way the world is run is not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, totally true. And I think that whole lust for money and lust for power is really where they go wrong. And then, because then it becomes the service to self path. instead of service to others. And self can mean not only you, but your group too. So,
Yeah, or how about service to all? Because
yeah.
some people, I mentioned it to somebody. I said it's much better to be on a path of service to others than service to self. It's much more rewarding. And she's like, well, that's not fair. And I said, okay, how about service to all? Because that includes you. That includes your family, your children. You're in service to all, to this beautiful world, your community, your family. You're not just being greedy and trying to squeeze as much out of everybody and everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like that, service to all.
Maybe we should switch to that. I don't know. And I just really like some of her points. I agree with them. And I'm not a Kabbalistic Jew. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. If anybody's out there, do not take any offense. It's been a long time since I picked up those books.
Yeah, and I've even been thinking about the whole light worker thing. I'm like, well, shouldn't we be love light workers then? Because technically the Illuminati are light workers. They're working the light, the knowledge, but they don't have the love. So we should be love light workers.
I think so.
About it.
I really do, because this whole David Wilcock leaving Gaia TV, accusing them of being run by Luciferians. And then we did that show with Spirit Walker about what's the difference. There's this whole Gnostic movement of trying to make Lucifer popular again. And they're saying, well, Lucifer's not a bad guy. Lucifer's the light bringing. It's the Satanist. It's Satan who's the bad guy. So, we have to be careful that we always just reflect God. We just listen to God. We work for God. We love God. We pray to God, and just kind of leave these other things out, unless you're a Christian and Christ and Jesus is obviously, or Buddha, or Muhammad. I would never take away those. I respect everybody's religious freedom, but when somebody's trying to sell you Lucifer, that's something I wouldn't go for.
One thing I realized, that it has more to do with your intention than it does with the title you use. Because if you have like a sort of service to all intention when you have a request or a prayer or meditation, it's going to be directed by your intention. Because you can even have, say, you've got sort of a service to self intention, but you're praying to God or Jesus or whoever. The fact that your intention's wrong still sends it the other way, I feel. So if you're like, I can't stand this marriage, why don't you just take their life and get me out of this? And it's something that's really selfish, like make this person die. That's not going to go to God and get answered. I don't feel like. I feel like it's just automatically going to go the other way, like you're sort of. So it's the intention, not really the title,
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense to me too, because if you were raised in one region of the world with one belief system, how could everybody else raised in another part of the world with a different belief system go to hell just because of where they were born and that they didn't get to, you know what I mean? So if their intention is pure, but they see Muhammad as the intervening personality between them and God, or their intention is pure, and they see Jesus or Buddha, then it's all the same, isn't it? It's pure intention, it's love, it's compassion. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think, that sort of gets into when Jesus said, ask anything in my name, which is kind of odd because they didn't call him Jesus back then. It was Yehoshua or Yeshua or something along those lines, originally, but we use the word Jesus. But
Yeshua?
That's okay. But what I'm just sort of getting at the fact that we always think he's saying only
Yeshua, Y-E-S-H.
Yeah. I've heard like 3 different pronunciations of Yeshua, Yehoshua, or it's really like rooted in the same name as Joshua, is what I found out.
Yeah.
I realized that because they didn't have J's. So.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the teachings of Jesus are really pure and lovely, but I'm not sure that they've been carried out properly by the different churches through the centuries.
There's been some distortion in there for sure.
Yeah, and some of the rules and some of the laws weren't very Christ-like.
It was more of just trying to control the masses, kind of like politics. I mean,
maybe
it's easy
for
to
money.
see once you get out of it that.
I mean, because
What better way to control the people? I mean, we've done it with the government. Think about this. We like the eye in the sky, see what you're doing. They got satellites that can zoom in and read the year that the quarter is that you're holding in the palm of your hand. And they're watching through your computers and through your phones. And, now they've got, they don't need God anymore. They've got you thinking that the NSA and the government's watching, which they are. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not listening. They are listening. But it's like,
Hello,
we don't need
hello
religion
NSA, hello
anymore.
CIA.
Look
We
at,
love you. We love you, NSA and CIA. We're going to send you light and love and heal your hearts. They're just
right.
people like us at the end of the day, right? I mean, I know that at the end of the day, they're us, they're people, they're humans, and we have a chance. We really do. We have a really good chance of bringing about 5D Earth, the golden age, just through this growing love and compassion that's like spreading.
Yeah. And I think it's
I
like,
feel really hopeful.
I
I
think,
feel good.
yeah, I do too. I'm not worried about them listening. I'm not doing anything. I mean, they got plenty of other people to worry about. There's so many people in the world. I'm not doing anything to catch their attention. So
No.
I'm all
And
good.
whenever we do mention the words that would trigger the bots,
Yeah,
we're just saying send them love and light and let's hope that they have a change of heart. That's the most that we encourage people to do, right?
yeah, yeah,
They've got a lot more to deal with. They really do. And the sooner they change to love and light and service to all, the easier their jobs are going to get, right?
totally. Yeah, make it easy on yourself, guys.
Make it
Pass this
easier.
along to the higher ups, NSA.
Well, I'm ready if you're ready.
Yeah,
I
let's
didn't
do
really
this.
bring anything else to talk about today, and we've already gotten to 44 minutes. We usually start the meditation around now. It usually lasts around 10 minutes. We never plan it. My eyes are closed. So when you see the timer, it's just coincidence,
Right.
basically.
And we didn't have anything strange happen last week that you noticed. I didn't notice any
No,
singing
no,
bowls.
but I do have something kind of strange. No, I didn't notice any flickering. Remember that red, white, and
Oh,
blue for the
yeah.
veterans and that crystal bowl, 504 hertz? Nope, I didn't notice anything strange on the playback at
Okay.
all. But we'll see. We'll see if something pops through today. I should ask, did you want to prepare a recorded video for next week and save the contact and disclosure one for the following week? Because I'm going to go out and see my family, and we are going to go see David Wilcock he's doing 5 years on Ascension. So I like David Wilcock from his wisdom teachings. I
Yeah.
really got a lot out of those. I watched like 4 years of wisdom teachings in 1 year when I found him on Gaiam
Yeah.
TV. Now, when he went into the secret space program, I know he lost a lot of people. I'm not real keen on the space program. I believe in alien contact, but I don't believe that there is an alliance that's going to save our butts down here. I think basically, like Jane Goodall, was she with the chimps? Yeah, it was like hands off, just observe them. Don't interfere. And I kind of think if we do have aliens observing us, they're not going to interfere. So that's where I kind of just didn't watch. I didn't watch Corey Good. I didn't watch Disclosure, Cosmic, whatever. But
Yeah.
he's doing a 3-day talk on 100% on Ascension. And
So
he's
you're
going
going to
to,
that next weekend, is what you're saying?
yeah, I'm going to go to that next
Wow.
weekend. So I know that there's a Saturday night event with David. I think we're going to have dinner with David.
Oh, cool. So
So
you're going to be
I
actually,
won't be available
you'll be broadcasting
unless I
live
do
from
it
there?
next to David and we put him on.
She'll be
What's
broadcasting
that?
live.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that as his dinner as I just whip out my little phone and go, hey, you're live on YouTube. I was thinking that maybe you could do a pre-recorded one or a live one if you feel like it, or do one like the abundance meditation that was so beautiful. If you have time. And if not, just rerun one. Because
Right.
unless you just want to skip it, but I think if we skip it, there's going to be people going, it's 8 o'clock. Where's my meditation time?
Yeah, that's totally
I would
true.
be. So, I mean, how do you want to handle that?
Yeah, I
Or do you want to
could.
think about it?
Yeah, I've got options. I can rebroadcast one and join in with the chat, or I can record one. Yeah, there's things we can do. So we'll still plan on next um, week at 8 o'clock, same time and everything.
I'll
But
do it later. I'll do it through retro causality
uh,
because I know I've got a Saturday night event. I think it's dinner with David. We know we've got 3 days of conferencing, and then we paid extra for the dinner so we could ask him some private questions. It's more
oh,
fun that
nice.
way.
Well, real quick before we move on to the meditation, you mentioned that he left Gaia TV because I didn't hear about this. What were you saying?
Yeah, it's kind of on the it's kind of on the lowdown. There's a few videos out about David Wilcock's resignation letter, which was just this week. Yeah, because it's yeah. I'm thinking of my days. I think it became big on Monday, possibly last week, and Corey Good is like, I don't know the details, but according to the letter, Corey Good is suing Gaia TV for not giving them the financial support that was promised. Who knows? That's all lawyer talk. All I know is there were some really good programs on Gaia TV. David Wilcock, for one, Regina Meredith. Who's that other guy? George Norrie. He was on there too, and he's always fun.
And they're all leaving?
Well, no, only David's leaving under a guise of Gaia, or Gaiam TV was taken over by Luciferians promoting the Luciferian agenda. So I have no proof for that. I don't know if I believe that. There's just lots of videos out on it. And the employees of Gaia TV have started #GEM. And GEM stands for Gaia Employees Movement, something like that. So it's the #GEM movement. So all the people, maybe not all, but a whole lot of them are getting together, and they're trying to push out the bad influence, which they consider negative with Luciferian agendas, to get back to, consciousness expanding, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, everything, everything, and not have like a religious undertone to the program. Yeah. But I quit. I quit Gaia to save money because I lost interest after I watched all of his wisdom teachings and he went into the space program. I lost interest and I quit Gaiam TV. So I've been out of there for at least a year. So I don't know what it's like now.
That's wild. So I kind of thought maybe he would, if he quit that, you'd see more of him on YouTube, because it was like it reached a point where like all you found was like reruns of old things that he did, different people putting out just the same old stuff over and over again from him, and you wouldn't see any new stuff. And
Exactly.
so
He does have a
hopefully,
website called Cosmic. What's it called? Does anybody know?
Cosmic
Cosmic.
Disclosure.
Yeah. Isn't that the
Is that
website?
the name of the same as the show, Cosmic Disclosure?
Maybe it's a different cosmic website that's more about ascension, because let's face it, this guy was all about quantum physics for years and all about Edgar Casey, right?
Yeah.
Because he believes he's a reincarnation of Edgar Casey and he has talents, and he used to give professional readings that were apparently, accurate. So then he went into quantum science, and he like devoured it and explained it to the world in easy terms, kind of like you do, Shane. Vanessa Vaughn and I were on last night, and we were talking about you throughout the whole show. So you have to go listen to the whole show to hear everything that we said about you at every point. All good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And so then he shifted from wisdom teachings into disclosure. Now, contact and disclosure is really awesome, but it's kind of funky too. It's kind of political. There's a little bit of like maneuverings for money in there with contact in the desert and all that stuff. So he got into kind of a dirty area, didn't he? If he'd stuck to quantum science and ascension, which is what this whole weekend's going to be about, which means I'm going to come back here the week after and share it with you guys. I'll just let you know what he thinks, because he has been devouring studies on gamma radiation hitting the earth. He can prove it. The photon belts, I think he's going to be talking about the photon belt and give us some studies that prove it. Metal Rabbit was asking me for the studies that prove the photon belt, and even the information that was available 6 months on Google is gone. You find a gem and then you read it, and then you bookmark it, and then you go back 6 months later and it's just an empty page. It's gone.
Right. That's interesting.
And then we can do the meditation, because coincidentally, this is how psychic you are, Shane. Very psychic, man. You sent me an email today right before the show saying you'd like to do a meditation on a peaceful, cooperative contact and disclosure, so that we know for sure that they're there. We know who they are. We know what their intentions are. And the people of Earth welcome them. As long as, they're not going to come down and do anything nasty. But that's highly unlikely. They would have done it by now. And we've seen far more harm from human beings to human beings than we have seen from aliens to human beings. So, I thought that would be a great meditation, Shane.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got 88 people in here.
Oh, cool. Oh, 88. That's a good number.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the week that I come back, and you asked me to do that meditation before I told you that I was going to go see David Wilcock, it's going to be about contact and disclosure. So how perfect is that? I can tell you what he said about ascension.
Perfect. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yep. And I will be joining you guys next Saturday night, but I'll be doing it like maybe Sunday morning. Well, there's a conference Sunday morning, so I'll probably have to do it Monday. I'll probably have to do it when I'm done with it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all day, all night conference. So I will catch up with you guys and I will participate on Monday.
That's perfect.
Cool.
Maybe you can do it on the road if you're not driving.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going with family. So my sister, she likes to drive, but if she doesn't want to drive, I'll drive. I have to drive her car, and it's really big, but I can do it. She's let me do it before. I just don't want to park it.
They just put 96 in my reality. Jose said 96, and Jane said 96. So it's only showing 85 for me now. So I don't really know.
Isn't that divisible by 8? Isn't 9? I mean,
Yeah,
I told people I can't do my times table over 6s.
Yeah, it's actually 8 more than 88.
Hey, Jose, who else is in there? I want to say hi to everybody.
Meditation Man and Sherry.
Meditation Man.
Yeah,
hey,
Transmission
Sherry.
Forever. Timo.
Yeah, I talk to these people all the time now. I bet you do too.
Yeah, Terry, Ronnie in Florida.
Cool. Hey, Ronnie. Hey, Terry.
So, let me see.
We can't mention 96 people, can we?
That's not fair. I got to stick to the wrenches.
Love to everybody. Mwah. Love you all.
Love to everybody. All right. So, yeah, I'm ready. I'll go ahead and mute it and we can get it going. I can relax.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously make sure that I don't turn off my mic. Okay, so we are going to be concentrating on our community of healers and lightworkers and other, but I think we're all lightworkers, love lightworkers, no matter what our jobs are. And we're going to concentrate on the healers and lightworkers in the world. And we're going to concentrate on the new ones, the newbies who are just waking up to this and just coming on board with all of this. Sometimes it's a little confusing, and sometimes it's a little bit scary when you bump into things like the Mandela effect. So now that I've refreshed my memory of what we want the meditation to be on, oh, and you guys got to see me do that too. I will just take off my video. Okay, so I would like us all to first start by closing our eyes. Make sure you're in a safe place to do it, in a quiet place. And let's start tonight by grounding ourselves with our grounding cords. I want to try it different ways every week and see what we like the best. So you're just going to close your eyes and relax, and you're going to imagine a gold or silver cord of light going from your root chakra, which is your very, very bottom chakra at the base of your spine. And you're just going to send that cord of light all the way through the building that you're in, all the way through the crust of the earth, the mantle, all the way through the other layers of the earth. It's going to pass through water. It's going to pass through all kinds of materials and go straight down to the center of the earth. And when it reaches the center of the earth, it's going to instantly splay out in all directions like the roots of a tree. And now you are securely grounded to earth. You can let yourself relax through the meditation and go as far as you feel comfortable into the meditation and even away from your body if that feels comfortable for you. So we're going to start by taking a nice slow breath in. Hold it for a few seconds. And when you exhale it, exhale out all the negativity of the day. And we're going to take another nice, slow, relaxing breath in. And this time, you're going to exhale any negativity in your body as you exhale out. And on the third breath in, try to fill up the tummy, lower tummy area, and fill up your lungs all the way to capacity. Hold for a few moments and exhale out any negativity in and around you. And now we're just going to breathe naturally and comfortably, a rhythm that's comfortable for you, neither slow, neither fast. Don't force it. Just breathe in and exhale comfortably. And start imagining that you're breathing in through your heart and out from your heart. Breathing in through your heart and your heart chakra, and exhaling out of your heart. And when that's comfortable, add a light from Source or God, or if you prefer, you can add a light from your higher self. And breathe that light in through your heart. Let it mix with your own heart energies and light and love and compassion. And exhale that light out from your heart. And breathe it in through your heart, any color that you like, any color that feels comfortable. Pink and green are very common, as is yellow and white. And you can also breathe in blues, reds, oranges, browns, grays, whatever color suits you, or even breathing in the rainbow. So you're actually taking in all the colors into your heart and exhaling all of those colors from your heart. Now we're going to fill our bodies with that beautiful healing light from God. We're going to breathe that light in and fill that light up from the top of our hair and our head and our forehead and our neck, our arms, our chest, our tummies. We're going to exhale it out, and it's going to continue to fill our bodies down through our legs and our feet and our toes. Now breathe that light in through your heart, and this time fill up a bubble of light around you. Let that bubble be filled with the light of love from God and the light of love from your own heart. Breathing in through your heart, exhaling out through your heart. And let that bubble of light completely surround you, above your head, around you, in front of you, behind you, and under you. And when you're comfortable, send that bubble of love to your loved ones and let them experience the light and love of God and from your heart, from you to them. Breathing in through your heart, exhaling out of your heart. And when you're comfortable, we're just going to imagine ourselves being in a really peaceful, safe place. It can be a new place that you've never been before, or one that you frequently go to in your mind's eye while you're meditating. Breathing in and exhaling out of your heart. And in that place, we're going to relax, and we're going to imagine an event or something that happened in your life that made you very, very happy, where you felt so much joy doing something or being with someone or being with a pet even, or just experiencing a beautiful part of nature somewhere. We're going to recall those images in our mind's eye, and now we're going to recall those feelings of how that made us feel in our hearts. Breathing joy in and exhaling joy out. So now that we're breathing love, the light from God, healing light, and the joy that we've experienced in through our hearts and out through our hearts. And we're in our protective bubbles of light, and we're well grounded to the center of the earth. We're going to do an amazing job as love light workers here on earth. And we're going to send that joy now. We're going to send that light to all of the light workers and healers and beautiful artists and wonderful people in our own community. Breathing in through the heart, exhaling out through the heart. And we know many of them by name, and we love them. That's really evident in how we communicate on each other's channels, and how Shane brought us together on Unbiased and On the Fence. And then we started our own channels, and now we communicate with each other all over the place. And we come from all over the world and many different states. and Canada and Australia and Europe and all over the place. Breathing in through the heart, exhaling joy out through the heart. And we're going to send love, light, and healing to everybody in our community right now. And we're going to hold that for just a few moments. And when you're feeling ready, extend that light, extend that love to all the light workers on the planet. Whether you see this planet as a flat plane or a round sphere, send that healing love light to all the light workers, all the healers, all the artists, all the people, the educators and the communicators. Send it to everybody to bring the message that it's time to heal Earth now. Breathing in through the heart, exhaling love out of your heart. And know that we can do this now, that now is the time that we are coming together and we are building our communities and we are getting stronger and we feel safe and we feel happy and we feel healthy because we know that through our work and through our lives, we are bringing 5D Earth here, new Earth, fourth density, heaven on earth. Breathing in through our hearts, exhaling all that love out through our hearts. And finally, when you're ready, send all of that love and all of that light to the new light workers, the new healers who are just waking up to this right now. Breathing love in, exhaling love out. And now let's heal our whole community, our personal community right here, our world global community, and our new community that's just waking up to this. Let's send them love and light for healthy bodies. Let their bodies heal. Healthy minds. Let their minds heal. Healthy emotions. Let their emotions heal. Healthy feelings during the day. Let their feelings heal. And let's send that all the way up to our sources right now so that we can heal the spirit, the soul of humanity. And let humanity heal so that Earth can heal. Breathing love light in through your heart, exhaling love light out of your heart. And now for just a few moments, let's just sit and bathe in the love and the healing and the energy and the peace, the cooperation, the compassion, and the contentment that we're feeling right now. Let's just sit with that for a few minutes, a few moments. And now we're just going to end this with a feeling of peace. And we're going to carry that peace with us for the whole week. We're going to see if we can stretch these compassionate, peaceful feelings out to last us the whole week. And when you're ready, just breathe normally in and out of your nose or your mouth and start to move around, move your neck, move your head, move your hands and your arms, move your legs a bit, your feet, your ankles, wiggle your toes, and let go of your grounding cord. I'm back. There he is.
Ooh, I almost hit the hang up button trying to unmute it.
We always come out of this laughing and giggling like, is anybody asleep? Let's wake them up. Wake up out there.
Oh, I got to get back to the chat. I don't even know. Okay.
I hope.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my gosh, I didn't do the fires. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's
Well, when you said
impossible.
Earth, I thought of the fires.
It's really hard to combine two completely divergent topics. I don't write these, I don't plan them, they create themselves. So
It was beautiful.
if you want to do fires next week and volcanoes and earthquakes, I'm really sorry. It just didn't lead into a natural progression of fires. It didn't go there.
No, that's fine. Totally fine.
Okay.
Hey, Jenny, you made it live.
Oh my gosh. Hello. We're talking about you.
Yeah,
It's so
so
rare
much
for you to
love.
make it in live.
That's
We did
awesome.
your topic today, though. We did Shane's, Debbie Hazelton's, and Jenny's.
Yeah, that's cool because she's still watching it in the future.
Oh, yeah. So retrocausality. There is no time, even on planet Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, for her, it's already Sunday, afternoon, right, Jenny? So that's so cool. One night, somebody was talking about, yeah, I'm on the beach in Australia. And I'm like, it was like nighttime here. It's just so wild, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to picture, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
when we used to because my dad worked in different countries, we'd fly. And as a kid, I'd either lose time, they stole it from me, or I'd gain time. So if you move to Australia or New Zealand, let's move to Jenny's house in New Zealand, right? And you lose what, 6 hours, 8 hours? If you never come back from New Zealand, you never get that time back. It's gone. But if
Yeah.
you move back to the United States later, you gain the time back. So then you're back to, having all your hours in your life.
Yeah. I guess you need to move to, I guess that would be like Hawaii and never move once you get there. Then you stole all the time you can get, right?
Yeah, it depends on which direction you go. You're
Right.
right. Gain time when you go that way, heading for the sun. I guess I'm thinking of my family and friends still in England. In the parts of England they're 5 hours ahead of us, ahead of me. So
Oh,
if
but
I go
then,
to England and I stay there, I lose 5 hours and I never get them back unless I move back to the United
yeah,
States.
16 hours, Jenny says. You know
Oh my
what's weird?
gosh.
It's like I just realized not too long ago. I don't know why I went my whole life before I really thought about this. It's like I realized that there's only 1 hour out of the day that we're all on the same day. Have you
Which
ever
one is
thought?
that? Seriously?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know which one it is, but at some point, it's like we're all in the same day, and then
That sounds
incrementally,
mystical, like we should be meditating during that hour because we're
yeah,
all on the same timeline, we're all in the same time.
that's trippy.
I
Yeah.
have read repeatedly, guys, if you have a sidereal clock on your phone as a free app, the ideal time to meditate for manifestation or healing or anything is at 1:30 p.m. sidereal time. And
Mm.
that's when the earth is facing your part of the earth is facing the center of the galaxy.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Yeah. So, but I've tried it and I can never time it that way. I've got to either meditate right when I wake up, meditate with a special program like this, or meditate before I go to sleep. It's really hard for me to stop in the middle of my day and go, "Oh, the sidereal clock says it's 1:30. I got to meditate."
Hey. Meditation,
Oh,
man. Have a
and
good one.
another thing that Lynn said was that when magnetic radiation is high on the Earth, when it's really, like magnetic storms, which we don't like because they cause increased earthquakes and volcanoes, etc. But with this grand solar minimum, apparently we're getting a lot more magnetic activity down here. She said that scientifically they have found that really speeds up the effective manifestation. So if we're going into a 400 period year of the grand solar minimum with fewer solar flares and more gamma radiation and more magnetic energy here, we're going to start really speeding up this whole manifestation process. That's the
Yeah.
good news.
Yeah, and someone was also bringing up the fact that we're having this global sand storm that's blowing across the
Yeah.
whole Atlantic, and
I
how
saw your
sand,
video on that.
Did you? Well, last night somebody was bringing it up. They left a comment to that video saying that there's like quartz and stuff in sand. So the
What's in
fact
it?
that
Oh yeah.
so the
It's
fact that
been
it's blowing
yeah.
around, it's like it could be amplifying our intentions and our energies and things like that.
Oh yeah, I never thought of that. It
Yeah,
is a lot of quartz, isn't it, in sand? It's or silica and quartz. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that's something to think about because I know
Yeah,
the
I
sun
watched your
seemed
video
really
and then I
bright.
watched MB333. 'Cause he
Hmm.
seems to be up on all that stuff.
That's wild. And then Mars, they had to shut down the rovers because they're going through like a planetary dust storm.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I do this Ascension weekend with David Wilcock, he's going to roll out all that stuff and he's going to show because he's like Lynne McTaggart. He always tries to prove what he's saying because otherwise he'd sound, really crazy and really flaky. So then he pulls out a study and he's going to show us proof of the increased energies that we're experiencing as all part of the shift, the event, Ascension, 5D Earth.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool.
Jose's complaining that the sand hasn't reached her in Canada yet. So.
That
It's there. It's just real thin.
It's in Oklahoma with Shane. Blow her some.
Yeah, really.
Get up north.
Yeah, we've had some wild weather here lately, just around the globe, and you just don't realize all the flooding and stuff going on. But
Yeah. That. Okay, so next week, do you think you want to cover flooding and fires and volcanoes and sandstorms? I mean, it's up to you. It's your meditation.
yeah,
But I'm
it'll be
sorry,
something.
Amber. Yeah, I forgot about it and it didn't go that way and I couldn't force it in. I think if I try to force it, I lose the level of compassion.
Yeah, I think you need to stick with your intuition while you're doing it because it's not like you're reading or anything. So it's
No,
not
I've got my eyes closed.
right.
And I just try to remember to ground everybody first for their own physical well-being. Then I try to put them in a bubble of light for their safety. Send that to loved ones because we love our loved ones. And then I try to remember what our topic is. And once we hit the topic, it just goes. Whatever
Right.
whatever comes out of the meditation, it's heartfelt.
Definitely. And I felt it. So
I did too. It was really light and it was still peaceful. It was still compassionate.
definitely.
Because sometimes we feel it when we're like really sadly helping people who really need it. Then we feel a different kind of compassion. And this was a very light kind of compassion.
Yeah. So definitely you don't want to be late next week because it will probably be a short one since Eileen won't be here to chat with me. So I'll probably just get right into the meditation. Unless I rebroadcast one of the other ones, then I'll be in the chat with you. But I'll probably record something this week because I'm not much for trying to think on my feet when it comes to meditating like that. So if
That
I do
abundance
one,
meditation was great. Really good. I still listen to it. It's in one of my favorites on the playlist so I can go to sleep to like 3 or 4 meditations.
yeah, maybe I'll do that one. Who knows? If I don't have time to record one this week, I've got a pretty busy week this week with people on, so I don't know that I'll have the time, but I'll do what I can. I'll be here regardless, so I'll keep you
Awesome.
guys posted
You'll
throughout
be
the week.
holding down the fort.
Yeah,
The
holding down
power
the
of 8 at 8 fort.
Lynne, if you're listening, maybe you can come on and chat. No, then you'd miss it, so we can wait. So you'll be back. You'll be back 2 weeks from tonight, then a week from next. You only
Yeah,
miss
I
1
won't
week.
be here next Friday. What are we doing?
Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday. Sorry, God, I thought it was Friday for a second. I'm going back in time. I wish, right? I can get an extra day this week to get things done.
Well,
Um,
your event that you're going to is what, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? It's a
yeah,
weekend.
it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I'm going to stay and visit some family in Colorado, and I'll do the meditation, whatever you present on Monday.
Are you
I'll just
flying or driving?
I'm flying.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just too far. I remember driving from like the Fort Myers area to Chicago, and it was supposed to take like 16 hours, and it took like 27 because of construction.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like and going through the center of like Atlanta. So I'm not a real fan of that unless I have people in the car with me who can keep me company and entertained
Yeah,
and
definitely.
stop off along the way, right? And sightsee and eat and go to sleep in a little motel, hotel. Otherwise, it's not fun.
Yeah, and then gonna think about all the people that you know here in the chat that you pass by, and they're like, "Hey, you need to stop and say hi while you're here. You can stop at every little town, you know." that was my thought. I'm like, you're gonna have to come right through Tulsa if you're. So just wave out the window when you're flying over.
I know it'd be really rude to say, oh, I just drove by your house, Shane, but never mind.
Especially since I live like right off the highway. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop and fuel
And then on
up
the other hand, like you don't want to have like 10 people from these very, very large communities just show up at once, Although if you go out for coffee or for, a drink or something, that would be fun.
Right,
Did you do
yeah.
your get together? Did you have it?
No, we haven't had it yet. Still working
Okay.
on it. I need to go back to that place, and I've just been too busy to get back over there.
That'll
Or
happen when it's supposed to happen. We need to touch base with Vanessa Vaughn, see how her conference, the first Mandela Effect little conference in Virginia went last Saturday.
all I've heard about it is I was talking to I'm not talking. I watched one of the videos from gosh, I can't think of her name now. Meeks B.
Yep.
And I saw a video about her, describing how awesome it was meeting people and being able to talk about stuff without people looking at you like you're crazy. So
I'll go check out Meek's video on it. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
She's funny. She just makes me laugh because her early videos, she was freaking out about the Bible changes, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I had no idea she's from St. Louis, my old stomping ground. So that's wild.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is fun to watch. She is really fun to watch. She's got a good sense of humor.
Well, I hope you have a great time next weekend.
Thank
and I can't wait to
you.
hear all about it. I love David Wilcock's books and stuff, so that would be awesome.
I only watched the wisdom teachings and I only read the synchronicity key. I never read. I'm sure he's written 3 or 4 books since then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I just watched something recently with one of his things. He had this weird outfit on, and he said he did it on purpose.
I saw that one.
Oh,
he looked like the Easter Bunny.
Yeah,
he had this white suit on he always wears colored shirts, a pink shirt, white suit. I mean, and he was making fun of his outfit, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was ridiculous looking, but I can see why he did that to be entertaining. So he's
That was a good talk, though. That was a really good talk. I listened to the end, and I'm sure it was like a 2-hour video or an hour and a half. That was a good one.
It was a really good one. Yeah, so.
We always watch the same videos. Have you ever noticed that? I send them to you, and you're like, "Yeah, I just saw that this morning."
That's probably that we probably get recommended the same stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not surprised at all.
No.
Well, everybody have a wonderful weekend and a great week, and I really hope that this feeling of peace and love and light and joy stays with you the whole week, no matter what the week brings. It stays with you.
Yeah, amen to that. And I hope you have a safe trip. Lots of love and light to everybody in the chat and watching later. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. Thanks.
Bye, Shane.
Bye-bye.